This morning, Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg and his wife, Priscilla Chen, are expecting their first child, a baby girl. Congrats on that. But the announcement he posted on Friday came with another revelation that this couple has suffered 3 miscarriages in the past few years. Zuckerberg writes this: You feel so hopeful when you learn you're going to have a child. You start making plans, and then they're gone. It's a lonely experience that most people don't discuss. Miscarriages, because you worry your problems will distance you, reflect upon you as if you're defective or did something to cause this. New York Times reporter Jody Cantor is a CBS News contributor and joins us to discuss, because for so many people, hi Jody, for so many people, talking about miscarriages is such a taboo. That's why so many people are really cheering Mark Zuckerberg on, that he would share something so personal. What is the impact that it has had?
Well, first of all, the notes on his post are just so incredibly moving. All sorts of people came forward to discuss the pain that they had been through themselves. There is still a taboo in talking about it, and it's so striking coming from somebody who's really on top of the world in many ways, who's a guy, because it can be even tougher for men to talk about it than women. And on Facebook, so many of us put forward our best lives, a highly edited version of life, and this was so raw and so vulnerable.
Let's talk about why it's still so taboo, because it's such a human thing that happens to so many people.
1 in 4 pregnancies end in miscarriage.
Absolutely. I think it's because, first of all, the pain is so bad. I mean, you know, all of us without knowing it on some level are told all our lives that we're going to be parents. We play with baby dolls or we celebrate Father's Day. And then when you become pregnant or your spouse does, that just gathers velocity and you begin to envision that life for yourself. You generally haven't told very many people. And then all of that energy and expectation just slams into a wall. And if you have repeated miscarriages, it slams into that wall again and again. And the pain can be quite overwhelming. And you're afraid, I think, about how people will react. In an office setting, you can say to somebody, I have breast cancer, or my mother is very sick, and there's a bit of a script and there's a bit of a ritual people follow. Miscarriage is different.
What's great about this is Mark not only spoke to a man speaking out, but also talking about how he felt.
So powerless. I mean, here Mark Zuckerberg is at the top of the world, and we've seen is capable of doing so much. But in this situation, it really happens to so many people, and there's not. You can feel so out of control of the situation.
And that in his heart is what Facebook is about, is sharing. And also now Sheryl Sandberg sharing the loss of her husband in that way. It's a different sort of medium to use Facebook in that way.
Well, I mean, you can imagine in your mind what would Facebook look like if all of us were really honest about what was going on in our lives. You know, the question, though, is whether this changes anything. Does it make it easier to talk about this? There's still sort of no script. It's not completely clear how to do it. Celebrities may make a difference. Jimmy Fallon talked about his fertility struggle. Beyonce has now spoken about having
She had a miscarriage as well. But what about the issues for women, fertility issues in the workplace?
They're really tough. In my reporting over the years, I have found that this is like a sort of secret trauma that women in the workplace have. We all know that having a young child in the workplace can be challenging, but again, at least there's a script with that. We have things like maternity leave that support these women. The women I've talked to in the workplace who have miscarriages, they may be sobbing and nobody knows why.
Thank you, Jody. Thank you, Jody.